The doctor came in and said to me, we're just going to keep this baby. You just get on with your life, forget that you ever had this child, and just move on with your life, and we'll take care of it. I felt like a lioness. This was a powerful feeling that went through my body, and I became this fighter in an instant of, I want to see my baby, bring my baby now. That was my first battle.
I knew right from the very beginning, actually. I'd never nursed a baby before, but I was nursing him and he was like all over the map. Something's wrong here, you know? So it started right there, and you know, you just start doing lists of things that seem different.
You know, you'd always try and have play dates and have other kids over, and he never ended up staying with the kids downstairs. He always came upstairs with the adults. Where it was really defined for me was when he went to school. You can just see the gap widening.
And he was 2.5 pounds when he was born, so we were really watching him closely for any signs of a disability, and that's why he was diagnosed so early.
They didn't know what was going to happen to her, but they knew that this child was not going to be normal. And what a normal is. What is normal?
It's almost like internally combusting. That's how I like to describe it, because you still have to hold everything together, and you don't want to disturb the rest of the family, but when you're facing reality, and yeah, so you're still holding yourself together on the outside. Everyone can see, oh, everything is fine, you know. But meanwhile, on the inside, like at that moment, that I realized it was not going to be what I thought our life was going to be.
She came home with wrapped in a social worker's coat, right? So okay, so what are we gonna do with this child here? So we run to the store, and one of my friends and myself got bottles and clothing and a winter coat for her and everything. And the social workers left. She left her home and took off for 2 months. They phoned us 2 months later and said, how is the baby? So the baby is okay, but we're almost dead because this little baby, she was screaming like 24 hours a day, vomiting 24 hours a day. She couldn't keep nothing in her stomach, and she was shaking, and she was like on withdrawal, definitely. And in the 90s, there were not a lot of information about fetal alcohol syndrome. So, and I started looking for information all over, and I started reading and said, oh my God, what are we doing now? Now what is gonna happen, right? But you see this, you start giving all the attention to the child, and the child is not responding, but you know that she's not dying either, so what are you gonna do? You're gonna stop? Of course not.
They had a facility in Amherst for the deafblind, and they told me that I had to take her there, or they were going to take my child away. And so I finally relented and said, okay, you know, and packed her up, and we went over to Amherst. And there was an English lady. She had gray hair, and she walked tall and straight like a soldier, and came up to me, and she said, you go and wait in there. I'm going to take the baby into this room. And I was sitting there, I was talking myself down. I said, it's okay. You're just overprotective. You just gotta let them do their thing. They're way smarter than you are. And then I could hear this sound, and it sounded like an animal screams of like an animal. And I thought, well, that's a strange noise. That's just, what is that? And I walked down the hallway, and there was a little window in the door, and I looked in, and it was my child. This woman had the child naked on the floor, and she was sitting on top of her, and she had Jell-O all on her stomach, and she was taking her hands and putting the Jell-O on her stomach and putting it into her mouth. I walked through that door, and I literally threw that woman off of my child. Everybody wanted to fix my baby. Like, everybody was telling me what to do all the time. And I was so young that they didn't look at me or ask me any questions.
I've had many a breakdown. I remember when Jack was little and first diagnosed, and I'd already gone through all of this stuff with his birth, and we're just starting to get on my feet again, and then I got the diagnosis, and I was going across the Riverdale Bridge. I remember thinking, like, it'd just take 1/2 second. It would just take, and I've met so many mothers that have said, I've had that feeling, like you just think, can I do this? Like, my life is changing. I can just see what's ahead, and I don't want to deal with it. But you just keep going, it's just part of who we are. And as we get to know our children more and spend more time with them, it gets easier, I think, to be motivated because it's unconditional love. It's pure and simple. It's unconditional love. You'll do anything. You'll throw yourself in front of a moving vehicle for them, and you just put one foot in front of the other. And when people say, I don't know how you do it, you put one foot in front of the other. And it didn't all happen all at once.
I don't realize until I'm with another mother that has a child with disability how much of my day I am judged by and for being a mother. Either when I'm with Cole, people are judging him, and then they're vicariously looking at me thinking, does she have a disability too? Or, well, why aren't you doing something about what he's doing? Like constantly being analyzed for my behavior, for Cole's behavior. And when I'm with other mothers, I lose that. I know that I'm not going to be judged.
Being young, single parent, First Nations woman, when Selena was younger, there was clearly something different about her. I know there's been a number of times where I've been judged when I must have been drinking while I had Selena. That's why she is the way she is, but I'm not going to explain that. No, it's a genetic mutation. It's on the tip of the X chromosome,
My biological daughter, she's blue eyes, she's blonde, she's tall, right? I'm small, brown eyes, and Alana, she's tall, brown eyes, and she looked like me, right? So people judge me because of me, she has FASD. It's not your goddamn business, okay? Yeah. If she has FAS or not, I'm not gonna explain that I'm not her biological mother, but it's still, I don't want anybody to say that about me. Like, I was not me who did this to her, but also I cannot judge her mom because I don't know what her mom went through. Maybe her mother is affected as well. Maybe her grandma as well. When we think about the Yukon, we are on the 4th or already 5th generation, so people are affected by fetal alcohol syndrome. Are we gonna judge all those women?
I feel like it's almost like a slow death. I'm a single mom. I'm expected to work full time and then go home and take care of him and sleep very little because I always have one ear open, and I'm like, as I get older, it's getting worse instead of better. If they hire someone to take care of Jack, they're not expected to do that and have another job that is their job. That is their job, but I'm expected to do 2 jobs full-time until the day I can't do it, and then they'll take him away from me and put him somewhere. So that's my fear, is that I'm just gonna collapse one day, or, just be so exhausted. Instead of helping me now, give me some money so I can even just work part-time mornings, be home at night, be able to take care of myself, take care of him. If you do say something, you're money hungry. Mm-hmm. You're money hungry, and, that's your child. You have to look after them. That's, you gave birth. That's fine, but there's gonna come a day where I can't do it all.
That whole funding thing is such a nightmare for some people. I've just succumbed to the fact that I just have to play the game, and it all works fine if I do it that way.
They're all silos. They don't communicate with each other. Yeah. And if they communicate with each other, you had to charge for this, you had to charge for that. Well, you know what? It's because it's a different department and all this and all that. So nobody works together.
I can take Cole, and Julie can take Haley, and the government will pay Julie to have my Haley and for me to have her Cole. But they won't allow us to have our own child. And their excuse is, well, some family member might abuse them. I could write a book on the things that have happened from caregivers, from cleaning out her bank account to leaving her outside at 40 below. I could write an absolute book.
When you see the definition of a caregiver, that's us. We are the ones who are doing the work for them. And because of us, They are still here. They're still alive. They're still safe.
I fear for his safety, for abuse, for no one caring and loving for him, because we haven't got anybody that's willing to be his caregiver or guardian. I have absolutely nobody. So I think, well, wouldn't that be a blessing if he died before me, which is really a pathetic thing as a mother. But then the flip side is that I know that he's going to suffer tremendous abuse in his life. I know he's going to. That's the reality.
One of my huge fears is that something is going to happen to Alana. Like somebody's going to abuse her, somebody's going to rape her, that she's going to end with a baby. And, all those are my humongous fears. And now is what is going to happen after she's off Family Children's Services? What is going to happen? There's not a job for her. She doesn't write, she doesn't read, she doesn't count. I'm looking for interdependency. And we can work together so she can feel good and she can feel proud of herself and she can feel that she had put a grain of sand in this community in a positive way.
I just want somebody that's going to look after him if I go, that's going to protect him, and I just want him to be happy. I think we all know what makes our children happy.
Why is there such a mindset that it's you against me and it's them against you? It's like you feel like you have to put your helmet and your armor on before you even walk in there, so you're already heavy laden with the armor. We live in 2014 and nobody gets it yet. It's called adult support services, children support. Where is the support?
Coal is not the problem. It is how we perceive coal and how we don't value coal. That's really the issue, the greatest issue of my life, is that people don't value him the way that I value him. Trying to forgive people and trying to just, find center and find peace. It's ongoing. It's ongoing. It has to happen every day because it is so oppressive.
For me, Selena's disability isn't her, it's everyone else, because we're happy with who she is and how she is. If we had to choose Selena as she is or not have her at all, I would choose Selena as she is.
Everybody thinks differently. Everybody's wired differently. And he's, very much that way. And he understands people and he wants to understand people. So I think he could be very helpful someday to somebody. He may be me.
There is expression in Costa Rica in Spanish that say, tenga paz, be at peace. Sorry. I want to say that to myself. Sometimes it's difficult to be at peace. It has to start from me, by me, and yeah. Because if I'm not at peace with myself, I cannot be at peace with everybody else. In order to continue fighting, I had to be at peace. Because sometimes I feel like I'm going to lose it, and I can't. So I had to start by me.
I look outside my window, I see an angel in the snow, and I wonder where it is he will go. He's not like you or me, he's got a different way to see, and I wonder what it is that might be. He gets that faraway stare